chances are the only bit of AI you are applying in your business is ChatGPT to write emails, perhaps analyze some data. There's a whole world of AI and automation that opened up because of tools like ChatGPT and other large language models, which can boost your sales, marketing, and delivery. In 2025, if you're not using AI and automation, you're bringing a bicycle to the racetrack where your competitors are working on their supercharged race cars. I am Rishi Gupta, an AI agency owner who helps businesses like you gain leverage by using AI tools so that you and your employees can do more of what you love and less of what you don't. In this video, I'm going to break down 10 acronyms that will be useful for you to recognize in AI. And please prompt something like ChatGPT using some of these terms to come up with solutions of problems that you face in your business. Or better still, there's a link in the description. Book a call with me and we can go through it together. The 10 acronyms we will discuss today are LLM, CRM, API, RAG, ML, OCR, SaaS, IoT, NLP, and finally ETL. Some of these terms you may be familiar with, so let's start with the most common one. An LLM equals large language model, essentially a super smart robot buddy, which will compute things for you. So it can speak like a human being, it can sound quite natural, it can write things for you, and it can also read. So imagine you run a solar panel business and you need to send a cool email to a client. Essentially, once you define what sort of tone and some parameters that are important, you can write a 5-star email within seconds without having to reread it something again and again. And you can even train an LLM to follow a certain style or certain way of writing that email. An LLM can also be used to read a document. So you can take a document, enter it into something like ChatGPT or an LLM, and it will give you, let's say, something like a summary of that document. So as I mentioned, it can read, it can write, and it can also speak. So it's essentially like a smart robot buddy. Now, ChatGPT is probably one of the most common applications you must have heard of, but there's also Claude and Grok, one of Elon Musk's products. There's also Meta, which is Facebook, and of course Gemini by Google. And these are some common large language models available to you, but there's large language models that can be trained based on your specific company data. The model will know the information that you give it. Models like ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Meta, Gemini, they use information that exists on the internet. Similarly, we can have a large language model made and designed specifically for you, which contains the data that belongs to your company. So something like a voice agent can be created which takes data from this information and is able to answer calls on your behalf and speak for your business even while you sleep. Now, the second one, CRM, is something that you're probably familiar with. This is a customer relationship management portal. What AI can do is create this CRM portal which can be automated. So consider this as some sort of super organized digital notebook, which keeps track of all your customers and deals in one spot. So the voice agent that I spoke of, like that virtual receptionist, will take customer data and log that into a nice spreadsheet automatically. So instead of leaving post-it notes everywhere and making notes in a diary, it can be a total mess. A CRM can be a magical app that stores all this data, like customer names, phone numbers, what they want. For example, Bob needs a turbine replacement. You can speak notes into your phone and all the information goes into the CRM in an automatic fashion. So consider your CRM as this magic customer notebook where every conversation that you have, as long as you record it, can be summarized, whether it's customer information, conversations you have with the customer that are relevant to that business. Any relevant information can be summarized, categorized, and organized using a CRM in a very automated fashion these days. You don't need to write everything down and manually enter data into a CRM. With the power of large language models, which understand natural language, you are able to enter data into the CRM using just voice commands or just text or even handwritten notes that can be recognized. The next acronym we are discussing is API. An API is like this super fast delivery kid who just doesn't stop until he has delivered everything that needs to using technology that is superior and your data stays secure. An API is like a key card or a path, a very secure path that this delivery kid takes between two applications, for example, an LLM and a CRM. An API is an application programming interface. So let's say someone signs up for a solar panel quote on your website. Without an API, you'd have to type their info into a CRM. Well, that's boring, man. An API is like that kid who grabs that info from the conversation that you had on the phone, and poof, all of the information goes into your CRM through LLM. This is how your tools work together, like the Avengers. So APIs connect different apps to work together to deliver for your clients. So no more jotting down details from the customer and then putting them into some sort of system and then putting it into an Excel sheet. All of this can be automated, saving you valuable time. The next one on the list is a bit of a technical one, which you may or may not come across in common language. RAG, which is a retrieval augmented generation. Now stick with me here. RAG is like giving your AI a backpack full of complementary info. This could be things like your company's info. It could have manuals, customer notes, so that it can answer questions like a pro. The voice agent that we talked about, it could be that, or it could be something else that is more text-based, or information that somebody looks for on your website. A search tool can also output results, which is taking information from something like RAG. Imagine a customer asks, "Will your battery work with my solar panels?" Well, normally you would have to dig through papers to find answers about technical specifications and so on and so forth. With something like RAG, the information can already be fed in about what sort of solar panel and what sort of battery system works well together for this information to then be fed into something like an LLM or a voice agent, which interacts with the customer and gives them an answer instantly. Using RAG, the AI checks your files and in a snap, yep, it says this can work, and it explains how it's going to work as well. So it's like this super brainy helper that knows your business inside and out, making customers trust you more because it knows so much and always gives the right answer. It knows this information like the back of its palm. So the RAG system reads your files and gives smart answers. You don't even need technical experts anymore because it will give you answers for all the questions your customers are asking every single time. The next one is ML, machine learning. ML is basically a computer that is also a detective. It's supposed to be a detective hat. What it does, it learns from patterns, like figuring out what your customers actually want. So say you sell heat pumps. ML looks at your sales and says, hey, people in warm towns buy more. It can also guess how much energy a customer's solar panels will make, so you can suggest the best setup. So what this does is learns from patterns. It can recognize what's going on among customers, why there's certain customers buying more heat pumps. The machine learning algorithms recognize these patterns and give you key insights, like telling you that people in warm towns buy more heat pumps. That means you can change your sales strategy to earn more money. Reading patterns of solar energy, so you can know how much energy is going to be produced throughout the year without having to guesstimate. Those APIs that I talked about, there are things like Google's Solar API, which provides information about solar energy without you having to conduct surveys. Using AI tools available these days, you can specify the system without having to visit their property and know exactly how many solar panels they need, what sort of battery system would be good for them. Without doing a survey and bothering them, you can now produce quotes that are accurate, reliable, which help your customers trust you and buy more from you, leading to more sales and lower costs. So machine learning is like this fortune teller that gives you the power to make smart choices and win more deals. And more deals equals more sales. Yep. The next acronym I'm going to talk about is a bit of a favorite of mine, OCR, which is Optical Character Recognition. As the name suggests, it recognizes what it sees. So where you have text or some sort of document that you want it to read, this is the technology behind things like Google Lens, where you take a picture of a word and it's able to recognize what those words are. Imagine there's a picture of an invoice where you have scribbled down things with your hands and the writing is just about legible. The more legible it is, the more easier it is to recognize. I have seen invoices with very clearly written information, but logging all that information into a spreadsheet can take ages. An OCR system is something that will make that automatic. All you need to do is put in all these documents through an OCR system and all of the information gets logged into spreadsheets or into a CRM, which you can then use to analyze whatever you need to analyze. No more having to hire a data logger. An OCR system can do all of this automatically. So if you have piles of paper invoices, with an OCR, you can just snap pictures with your phone and bam, all of that information goes into your CRM like magic. And then you can search that information using simple text. You don't have to sift through all of these documents to find what you need to. Or even better, you can use an LLM based product and ask using chat, hey Jack, find me the invoice for XYZ sub-supplier that I can interrogate so that I can get more of whatever that was. Let's say it's some sort of battery system that you want to specify and sell to another customer of yours, then you don't have to go through all of that paperwork of all your customers. It's already there in your CRM system because you took pictures of all the documentation that you've had from before. And now all of that data is so easily accessible. No more sifting through documents. Just use the OCR technology and let AI do the rest. Next on the list is SaaS. You may have heard about this, or you may not have, but essentially that's software as a service. SaaS products are becoming more and more common, where you can go on like a website and you can have some sort of a monthly subscription or annual subscription, and you pay a fee to use this tool to run your business. For example, you have a solo business. Instead of buying some sort of fancy software, you can rent simpler tools like Trello to track projects or Canva to make cool ads. It's like borrowing a superhero's gadgets for a small monthly fee. Your costs stay low and you don't have to pay for some super expensive software like Jira or Salesforce. We can create something that's tailor-made for you so that it suits your purposes and you can use it for exactly what you need to use it for, rather than buying some fancy software which you may or may not ever use. Some popular SaaS software that you may have heard of are Trello, Canva. Trello is like an app which you can create like a whiteboard. Canva can be used to make beautiful presentations with templates. QuickBooks is another one which people use to manage their bookkeeping. All of these have some sort of monthly or annual fee which you can pay to use that as a service. So this is software as a service that can be something that is already available out there, or something can be created bespoke just for your business, which ends up being cheaper. It might be an upfront cost of, let's say, £1,000, but then once you've paid that cost once, £200 a month may seem cheaper, but within 5 months that cost will get recovered. So this is something that you can use for years and years, and that will offset the cost of SaaS software, which can be bespoke for you. We can make it look like exactly how you want it to look and feel, so that it solves your purposes and your purposes alone. Next up, we have IoT, which is Internet of Things. Another one that you may have heard of. This is when your devices like solar panels or EV chargers are talking to each other. So you often have a situation where how much charge is going to be supplied to a car can be coming from solar panels. That's something that can be determined using something like Internet of Things. This is where there's a connection between your EV and your solar panels, so that, let's say you want the car to be charged only when solar panels are producing enough energy, and that way all the electricity that is being pumped into your car is coming from solar energy, which is abundant and free once you've already had the cost of solar panels. This communication is made possible using API, what we discussed before. Even things like smart thermostats use the Internet of Things technology so that everything can be linked. You may have seen Alexa integrating with things like smart lights, smart fans. This is all the aspect of Internet of Things, and it can report back data to its supplier, to yourself, and that way you can be in the know what maintenance needs to be done, and so you can mobilize the resources as you see fit, when you need them, however you need them. This technology allows people to check all the information on apps on their phone or on their computer, and you can interrogate and you can analyze the data and do with it as you please. As a supplier of clean energy solutions, you can monitor your customer data from the convenience of your phone, where you don't have to go and visit your customers every time there's something that goes wrong. Things can be fixed over the internet, problems can be diagnosed, and software fixes can be put in place without you having to go to the site. So the Internet of Things sends data and fixes problems. Even if the problem doesn't get fixed, it will definitely do a great job at spotting those problems, and even recognizes sometimes those patterns that may lead to knowing when there's a problem that might be coming up, so you know when to service a product so that things can be fixed and altered before something goes wrong. With the Internet of Things, it gives you the ability to monitor that data, which leads to happy customers. Next up, we have NLP, which is Natural Language Processing. Now, the reason why things like Chat GPT can understand what you're saying and be able to give you responses just on the basis of some simple questions that you ask is natural language. Understands words. Whether you type or talk, it's like a computer that listens like your best friend. Why this matters is because when you have customers emailing you and calling you, all of this stuff can be automated. You can have a responder that is able to utilize the power of NLP and pick up the phone or even respond to emails automatically. If there are certain types of questions that are being asked, then these queries can be resolved easily using some sort of NLP where it recognizes the patterns of those questions and is able to provide responses without you having to do that manually yourself. Imagine a customer asking you about how long these wind turbines last. Well, yes, you can get on the phone and answer those questions yourself, but what if the AI can do that for you? It's not just some sort of chatbot that will only respond in certain sentences and you have to pick one answer or the other, press 1, press 2, press 3. It takes all the information that it needs to, it understands it, and then gives answers in natural language rather than having to be stuck with what it knows. It can be given lots of information and then using natural language processing answer questions that your customers have. Basically, it's a tool that reads, writes, speaks in natural language. You can give it character, you can give it style, it will follow that character and that style all day, every day, without a hiccup, without taking a break, without needing to take time off, and without throwing tantrums. And finally, number 10, we have ETL, which is a bit of a technical one, but it extracts, transforms, and loads. This is particularly important when organizing data. So when it comes to extracting certain information from things like large data sets of Excel files, transforming data, performing addition, subtractions, all sorts of calculations, and then also loading that data into, let's say, another bit of calculation that needs to be performed for you to get the final output. So it can be used to take input data, that data to be manipulated, and an output being produced using an ETL functionality. So if your solar business has sales data in one app, customer info in the other app, and then of course you have some CRM that has a combination of all of this information, ETL can take information from these sources and combine it. Say you need to make a presentation of all your recent sales and details of your customers, and ETL can help you put all this information together into a presentation seamlessly with a click of a button. Once we have programmed what information it needs to pull from the sales, from customers, and from previous customers in your CRM, the AI will seamlessly utilize all this information to create the presentation that will blow the socks off of whoever you're presenting it in front of. You don't need to spend ages where somebody needs to manually go through sales data, manually look at customers and analyze their information, look at all the previous records to come up with some sort of presentation that, and then spends half a day making it look pretty. All of this stuff then can be now automated using technology that AI has to offer, and it's available for you to utilize. So this was a rundown of some of the tools that are used in AI and automation. For more information, click the link below, book a call with me, and I can make all of this simpler for you by discussing what is it that your business is struggling with for you to take the next step and shoot for the stars.